All right, chaps. Good morning. Happy New Year. Um, this is the Derita Matters meeting. We have this every Thursday, every first Thursday, I'm sorry, at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Last year we did four in-person meetings. I think this year will be a little different, but we'll play it by ear in some ways, but you can generally count on the 9 a.m. on Zoom. I've got the schedule, and these slides will go out to our email list. So I've got the 2024 dates on here for the 9 a.m. Zooms, and then some tentative dates. June 6th, I'm hoping to do a summer meeting in person, and then no meeting in July because that's very close to July 4th. And then in December, I'll cover that later, but we had a great holiday party and I would love to do that again. Thinking maybe to do something during daylight hours though next time. So I would love some people on board to help me plan for that for next year. Just to summarize what we cover in Derita Matters meetings. Downtown Derita, right here at Mallet Creek and Sugar Creek, and all the neighborhoods within this area, 77 roughly on the west, 85 in the south, and then Harris Boulevard. So inside that almost heart shape is what I try to keep track of and update you guys. If you go to the cities or the county's Quality of Life Explorer, these are the areas that correspond with those roads. Not exactly, but roughly. And these are NPAs, neighborhood, sort of census tracts, actually. So there's a lot of data that you could check out on the Quality of Life Explorer. I won't go into that now, but that's part of what I use to come up with data about our area. And so our first thing, I would just want to do introductions of everybody who's on the call. And then our very first presentation will be from our guests about the Puckett's property. So introductions, I guess I could have led with this, but I'm Teresa McDonald. I am a resident of Allen Hills. I'm on the Derita Statesville Road Community Organization. I'm a realtor with Allen Tate, and I'm also on the City of Charlotte Planning Commission. I think that's everything, and I'm going to call on you as I see you on my screen and leaving the guests to last, and you can make your introductions when you start your presentation. So in no particular order, John Hoig.
Hi, Jonathan Hoig, resident of Allen Hills since '92.
Okay, welcome. Sylvia Cannon.
Sylvia Cannon, president of Allen Hills, Gary Hills, and also president of the Derita Statesville Road Group.
Thank you.
I live in Allen Hills.
All right, and then I've got Alan Davis. If it's your first time on the call, let us know where you're coming from. I'm not hearing anything from Alan Davis. Emily.
Sorry, hello.
Oh, sorry. Is that Alan Davis?
Yes, this is Alan Davis. I am a first-time participant, but have been following the agenda meeting notes for a while, and I live off of Allen Road.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're in Allen Hills. Or Greenwood.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Emily Tokars.
Hey everybody, I'm Emily. I live over on Gibbon Road. This is my second meeting, but I've been following for quite some time, so happy to be back on the meeting today.
Thank you, Emily. Brenda Jackson Little.
Hi, Teresa, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I am in a very noisy place, so I'm going to keep myself on mute, but I'm Brenda Jackson Little, Cary Hill subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you. Erin Gillespie, City of Charlotte. Erin, are you there? All right, I will move on. Carrie Miller.
Hi everyone. I'm Carrie. I am calling from the Avalon at Mallard Creek Townhome Community. I am a community advocate, and I am well, this is not my first time here. Happy to be here. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Hey, Teresa.
Thomas.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
hey, this is Erin Gillespie with the City of Charlotte, the
Hi.
Corridors of Opportunity team. I'm sorry I couldn't find my mute button fast enough, or I was very, very slow with it. But just tuning in this morning. But I think it's been a while since I tuned in before, but I've been tracking along the way.
Thank you. We're glad to see you here. All right. Let me go to Thomas Templeton.
Yeah, Thomas Templeton. I'm a longtime resident of the Royal Oaks neighborhood since 1964. And for those who don't know, Royal Oaks is a neighborhood essentially behind the fire station on Sugar Creek Road. And I'm the former president of that neighborhood association for Royal Oaks, and also currently on the board of the Derita States Full Road organization.
Wonderful. Thank you. We Choc, CHOC.
Good morning, Teresa. This is Jeanette Kennard. I am the executive.
You're in disguise.
I am the executive director of Champion House of Care, and we support teens and adults with disability. We are now located in our new location of Derita Presbyterian Church.
Awesome. Very happy to see you here.
Yes.
Thank you.
And this is my first time on the Zoom.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I've got Jamila Freelane.
Hi, Jamila Freelane, City of Charlotte. My first meeting, although I've been kind of in contact with you guys and always try to keep up with what's going on in Derita. You guys are in my service area, and I am the community engagement liaison.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Let me see. Larry Logan.
Good morning, Larry Logan. I'm a resident and past president of the Harrington Woods Homeowners Association.
Okay, do you guys have a new president?
We do.
Okay.
I'll send that to you later if you want.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you here. You're always welcome. You do not have to be any kind of leader to be on this call, by the way. It's just, it's for anybody who has an interest in Derita and advocating for good things. Sarah Morton.
Hi, my name is Sarah Morton. I live in downtown Derita over on Derita Avenue.
Awesome, thank you. I think I have gone through everybody on the list. Let me know if I have not called on you, and I'm gonna start before I go to our guests, just to because our big topic of discussion today is the site of Puckett's Farm Equipment. So I wanted to just start by reading the excerpt from Junebug on a String. I wish I'd had thought to make a slide with it, but anyway, it's just about the history of Puckett's Farm Equipment Company. The business was organized in 1932 by Mr. Ralph W. Puckett as Puckett's Farm Equipment Company. Back at that time, there were just mainly farms around. There was a post office and various other buildings along West Sugar Creek, which a lot of them are still standing, not many, but you can see the details of what is still standing and what is missing if you check out Ed Conley's book, Junebug on a String. The store sold Oliver farm equipment and was the only franchised Oliver dealer in Mecklenburg County. I guess that brand name would mean something to somebody. It's probably before my time. In November of 1947, the wooden garage and farm implement store was destroyed by fire. And that was really the impetus for the Derita Volunteer Fire Department, because the Charlotte fire trucks could not get out there in time. It was way far out in the county. So the Derita Volunteer Fire Department was first organized, and the fire truck was housed and operations were conducted from a shed in the rear of the store. And then at some point, the firehouse was actually built, which will be the subject of something later in the meeting. The old firehouse is where Andino's is right now, and the fire tower is going to be the location of our Derita placemaking sign. So that's the history of Puckett's, and I am going to move on so that our guests, if you would just introduce yourselves, and I think I have to stop sharing so you can share, if I'm not mistaken. So if you would, Joseph, take the reins. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate it. And I just first want to say thank you so much for allowing us to be here and speak with you guys today. Sounds like a really exciting and involved group. Let me go ahead and see if I can share this presentation. Okay, no, that didn't work. Hold on one second. Share. Should be able to. There we go. Is that full screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just begin by saying this is all very preliminary information. We've been studying this for about 2 months, which may sound like a long time, but we have about a 14-month design process. So I just want to reiterate several times, this is all kind of preliminary, and we have a civil team and an architecture team that are studying kind of the physical site. But then also, of course, we have, our financing team that we work through various iterations. So it's an evolving process. We are temporarily, the temp name is Mallard at Sugar Creek. This would be a multifamily apartment building. That's what we developed. That's what our team does. Our company, NHE, we're headquartered in Greenville, South Carolina, but we've been building in the Charlotte area. I think now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 working on 5 apartment developments in the Charlotte area. And then, of course, we've built all over the Carolinas. And our company manages 10,000 apartment units. So we're based here in the Carolinas, and this is what our team does. This is the site that everybody, I think, is pretty familiar with. So Mr. Gary Puckett owns these 3 parcels that he's had on the market. And our understanding is there have been a couple of attempts to develop this by other teams. Just to be clear, our team is taking a fresh run at this and have been involved for the last couple of months. Again, want to stress this is very preliminary, but we had our civil team and architectural team come up with some conceptual ideas. This would be along the lines of what we're proposing. So it would be a 4-story multifamily apartment building, surface parking, no structured garage parking. The city requires a substantial amount of tree save or tree replant areas. So those are there in dark green. And of course, we have to have some kind of stormwater control that's required by zoning. So again, there would be a stormwater control pond or something to that effect. One of the highlights I think that's important or be of most interest to everybody on this call is there isn't much of a curb right now. There's the parking lot along that area is just sort of open to the street. So there would be a nice fresh curb, a new fresh planting strip with grass and trees, a nice wide sidewalk, then some additional landscaping in the building. And we imagine that the front of the building would open up to some sort of area here at the corner of Sugar Creek and Mallard Creek, and that would perhaps have some, some planters, some large planters, maybe some benches, things like that, around the property. One of the reasons we're here today is because we did file for a rezoning, and I'll get into this, but I believe we are almost certain now that we will withdraw that rezoning request. The current existing zoning is B2. That's a business zoning district. And Charlotte recently went through a big overhaul of its zoning ordinance. There's a new UDO, and the future place type that's designated for this site is neighborhood center, which we sort of assumed and at first glance thought it was very different from B2, but actually the more we looked at it, it really is B2. The zoning type did not change very much, or the future place type. The zoning that's in place now, as I said, is B2. That allows multifamily by right. The density at 22 units an acre, so about 74 units maximum density. Neighborhood center, and I would just characterize the overhaul of the UDO in Charlotte, but also a lot of jurisdictions across the U.S. They're kind of going to a no limits on density. They don't want to have as much parking or require as much parking. Generally zoning across the U.S. is going towards a more dense is better, and take away restrictions on height and that sort of thing. So our analysis of neighborhood center is that it's sort of like B2 with fewer restrictions in place. I think that would be an easy way to characterize it. This is just a flavor of what our design team has been going through, which is the reason why we're almost certain now we're going to withdraw the zoning petition, because it just doesn't seem to have much of an effect on what we are proposing. They both allow multifamily, both zoning types allow more than enough residential density. The building height is sufficient. The setbacks are very similar. The open space, very similar. If anything, I think B2 is a little more restrictive, and neighborhood center is a little more less restrictive. Again, preliminary conceptual idea, but the idea would be something about 60 units, 60 residential apartment units. It would be a mixture of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom apartments. These are, I don't know how familiar folks are with standard apartment sizes. These are pretty generous and comfy sized apartments. We tend to build nice, comfortable bedroom size, living room sizes. The amenities, this is pretty typical of what we've built around the Carolinas. We would have an on-site leasing office that you would walk into with a lobby. There would be an exercise fitness center, probably a library, resident computer lab, a community room with some kitchenettes. The units would have washer and dryers. The building has to be Energy Star certified, which includes Energy Star appliances. We're starting to put in electrical vehicle charging at our properties now. The city requires lots of bicycle racks and, of course, playground and picnic area, like with an outdoor grill and I can show examples of those. Just to let you know a little bit about us, we are a development team, but we are also a long-term owner, and we are also a property manager, as I mentioned. So our business model is we build and we own and we maintain them for a very long time. 18 to 20 years is kind of our minimum financial hold. And typically at that time, we still own it. We'll just kind of refinance and restructure. So my retirement plan for my job is to refinance all of these developments as I get into my 60s. But I say that to say that we're involved long term. We very much care about how it's maintained. We look at the financial statements every month. We talk to the property managers. For good and for bad, you know, we are there to make sure everything's operating very well and maintained at a very high level. I think to interest of this call, you know, we're excited about this site. I can see the potential of downtown Derita. I think it has a long way to go in terms of revitalization. We would like to do something about that walkability and pedestrian experience. You know, right now along Mallard Creek, there's a guardrail. There's really not a sidewalk on that side. It's not particularly walkable. The Puckett's garage doesn't have much of a sidewalk or curb. So we would love to see that nice fresh curb, planting strip, nice wide sidewalk, street trees, street lighting. I think that would really enhance that area since there isn't a lot of that right now in that downtown area. We would sincerely hope that this helps jumpstart some of that revitalization and encourages additional redevelopment. These are some examples of some other properties we've completed recently. This was completed in 2021. Renaissance Place. This is the community room with kitchenette. This is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. This is the fitness area. This is a look inside a very typical apartment for us. You know, pretty standard finishes. We're very proud of what we build. We take a lot of pride in it, and our residents usually react very well to our apartments. This is our resident computer lab, kind of a business center. This is one of the hallways and lobby areas at one of our apartments in Spartanburg. Here's a look at one of our libraries. So with that, I'll just open it up to Q&A. This is obviously a truncated version of the presentation we'll be doing this coming Tuesday night. And although we are planning to withdraw our rezoning application, we very much are still having the meeting. It still will be Tuesday night at 6:30 at the Chagall Creek Recreation Center. And we encourage everybody to attend. Would love to have a conversation and do a much more in-depth version of this presentation. That's my initial presentation. Would love to chat and hear from everybody.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to try to figure out how to make sure everybody gets a chance to ask a question or make a statement. And if you do, please keep it short and to the point, speaking to myself, of course. I'm just going to lead off with my first question, is if there is any thought to using the existing building or the facade of the building, or if there is a plan to incorporate it in some way, given that it's a landmark. It's not necessarily anymore a place where a majority of the community gathers, although it is still a bar and live music venue. It's still kind of iconic and important to us, and I'm sure others will agree. But that was my first question, and then we'll let me know. Maybe raise your hand if you've got a question or something. I know a few of you on the call live really close to this location, so I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. And we are absolutely looking at the building. We hear from everybody that it's a building that they care a lot about and has a sense of place. We're studying options at this point. We've had our architect play with some ideas. It's a little too early to tell. I mean, there are some technical issues of whether or not the building's in the correct place or structurally what issues are with the building, that sort of thing. But certainly we're looking to create that sense of place that it creates an homage, that sort of thing. It's a little too early to tell at this point exactly what the development plan is regards to that building, but I can say at the very least we're aware that it's something that everybody cares a lot about, and that's something that we want to incorporate elements of it and a feeling of it. We hope to over the next few weeks, couple of months, to have a more refined idea of that building, what its current condition is, and how it can be incorporated visually, spiritually, into the design element. But it is something we're absolutely aware of.
Thank you. All right, I see Sarah and Emily, you have your hands up. I'm not sure who was first, but you are the folks representing very much downtown Derita, probably within a stone's throw, not that you would throw any stones.
You can go first,
Hey,
Sarah.
Emily. Okay, cool. So I'm in an interesting spot. I can see the site from my front porch, and so obviously I have an interest in this being a really special place. I think my question is the type of work that I do, I'm extremely supportive of affordable housing. It's so important, and I want everybody to have the same opportunity to live in an area that, I think this area is going to be great, and I want everyone to be able to live here. And so that kind of leads to my question. This is a really interesting spot where, just because of the commercial industrial nature of this area, like in downtown Derita, kind of proper and even around it, it definitely feels like we have more non-living buildings than we have places to live. And so, I would love to see a time, if ever these train tracks are turned into some sort of, transit, light rail situation. I work uptown, and I'd love for the people that I work alongside to also be able to live in these apartment complexes and commute to work in this way. So why was the decision made to go kind of primarily affordable, which I think is what I've heard, as opposed to some sort of mixed income, some affordable, some just regular market rate?
That's a great question. And I think part of it is the term affordable housing is we talk about this a lot in our industry. It's a very amorphous umbrella term. I actually have, and I'll get into this more on Tuesday. Let me see if I can hold on one second. Let's see here if I can. I think it helps to, here we go. I think it sometimes helps to understand like what is affordable, or what we mean by that, because I think it kind of means it's an ink blot test. It kind of means a lot of things to a lot of people. The way the general apartment industry is moving is towards a mixed income style of development. And, our grandfather's affordable housing is not the same as affordable housing now. I think there's kind of the luxury housing, which is $2,000 a month. And then there's kind of normal people housing, which is affordable housing. So just to give you an idea of generally where we're headed with this, our rents would be on average probably over $1,000 a month. We would have a certain amount of our units, you asked about mixed income housing. So about a quarter of our units would be truly deeply affordable, in that, $500, $600 a month range. About a fifth of our units would be in the kind of $800 to $1,100, $800 to $1,200 a month range. And then about half of our units, more than half of the units, would be in the $1,100 to almost $1,400 range. That's at 70% of area median income. So although on paper it's not called mixed income housing, for us it is, and that's the way our when you apply for various tax credits and various affordable housing dollars, what you do is you create these mixes of funding sources, but also mixes of groups that you're serving and area median income. And that's what it's all based on in the modern 21st century. Affordable housing is all based on area median income. So it's specific to a Charlotte market or a local market. I think I've got some more. And again, we'll go into this more on Tuesday. So just to give you a kind of a flavor of, who are the folks who live in affordable housing. As I mentioned, more than half of the units would be aimed for folks at the 70% of area median income, which is $50,000 to $70,000 a year, roughly speaking, for household income. And then some of the more deeply targeted units, which would be, we have a tier of units that's about a fifth of the units, another tier that's about a quarter of the units. And those would be more for the like $35,000 to $45,000 a year household income. So just to give you an idea, that's young professionals. We often see like, a working mother, she has a child, something like that. We'll often see multi-generational household. There's usually like a parent who has a pension, Social Security, but they live with someone else in their household. And again, we'll have a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom households. So it really kind of covers the range and covers the gamut. And we do a lot of market studies, and it's honestly pretty reflective of folks that live in market rate housing. This is how we can build new housing, because the way the modern economy works is it doesn't always make sense to build anything other than luxury housing. That's what you read articles about all the time. This is a very deep topic. I want to be conscious of everyone's time, so I'll leave it here. If you have more questions, would love to dive into that deeply at the community meeting on Tuesday.
Thanks, Joseph. And Sarah. All right, next I have Emily, and then Mel, and then Carrie. And I apologize if that's not the order, but you've raised your hands. Emily?
Hey, Joseph, thanks for coming to talk to us. And thanks for that clarification. That was some of my question as well. I have mixed interest here in this location. I personally live here, just almost adjacent to this site, and have visited many times. So it does have meaning for me. But I also have a rental property, multifamily rental property close by as well. And so that's really helpful to kind of know those rents. Does that, my first question is, do those rents, are they variable over, what's the outcome, 5-10 years from now? Because obviously that affects kind of the median rent in the area, and affects me and others who own property rental wise. But my next question is traffic, because I live on Gibbon Road currently, and rush hour traffic is quite difficult already on my road. And there's not really any kind of lights or anything that control that traffic. And so with this building being built, I anticipate a significant increase in traffic in the area. Are there any kind of provisions for that, or working with the town to manage the traffic volume? And then the third question is there any intent for mixed use? We don't have a lot of things for people to do around here, such as coffee shops or, a multitude of nail salons, or a, internet cafe type thing. And we have no restaurants really, other than Maria's sit down restaurant. And so I don't know if there's any thoughts about doing like mixed use on the bottom floor for allowing businesses to come in and support the community in that aspect, to give all of these people things to do here in the local area?
Those are all great questions. I'll try to get through them quickly. So the rents are a function of area median income, and the rents go up each year with area median income. The last several years across America, but specifically Charlotte, area median income has gone up dramatically year over year. Some years it levels off, but it does generally over time go up, and the rents go up as well. And we also, it's not one of the more polite aspects of managing housing, but we have to raise rents to keep up with insurance and all of the other various operating costs that go up. So that is part of what we do. The traffic. Traffic, anytime something is newly constructed, that's always a concern. Our entrance would be down Mallard Creek, closer across from the entrance to the existing retail center across the street. Generally, NCDOT wants entrances kind of further away from the intersection, and these are both NCDOT roads, and ultimately they decide where our entrances go. But we do coordinate with them. What I would say about traffic is, if this site were redeveloped as a shopping center, it would have dramatically more traffic counts than residential. We have had to look at a lot of traffic data over the years, and residential housing, the traffic counts are usually to the tune of 10, 12 counts per hour, sometimes 15 counts per hour, whereas say a dollar store or a CVS or something like that, coffee shop, is 30, 40, 50 traffic counts per hour. So it will be an increase of traffic over what's there, which is basically there's nothing there right now other than the pub at the corner, but there's nothing on those other parcels. So that it would be an increase in traffic over that, but it would not be as much of an increase of traffic as say a very heavy intensive retail shopping center, or even just a single standalone drive-through restaurant or things like that. So traffic control, yes. And then I think your third question was, mixed use. We are not at this time anticipating a mixed use aspect. And I know that everybody, Teresa has told me before that a mixed use is really what's preferred. I can't speak to the future of that area, but we do hope that as time goes on and eventually the red line comes through, I think you would see our sincere hope is that the kind of redevelopment you see on say North Tryon these days, where there's a lot of interesting development. I think that the area is ripe for that. Our development team, and I think the timing of this development right now and this site, with mixed use, you're constrained with parking. You have to have enough parking for both your residents and the folks who want to frequent, say, a coffee shop or something like that. And it can be tricky to balance those. We don't anticipate at this time having a mixed use element, though we will have things for our residents such as fitness, exercise, library, those types of amenities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mel and Carrie, let's go. Mel, you have a statement question.
Muted. I was muted. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Okay, I just want to echo a little bit of what Emily remarked about, and that is, again, the mixed use. I tend to be a visionary troublemaker. So, my first thought looking at your proposed plan is the street level floor should be retail. I mean, that complements downtown Derita and most of the businesses. Yes, there needs to be more living opportunities because more people creates a better economy overall. But again, I think you're going to hear that from other members of this group, and probably at the meeting come Tuesday, is that the preference would be for mixed use at the get-go and not wait for it to happen sometime later. Dependent, it'd probably be 20, in my opinion, 20 years before we see a light rail station. So that's that's generally my concern. I've had a lot of visions about this particular area. I think there should be a roundabout with a clock tower monument in the middle, and it should be Derita Village. And at one time, this property had a pond, and I had a vision about a restaurant where you could fish for your catfish dinner. So, those, again, I'm kind of out of the box about some of these things, but my initial reaction is that bottom floor in downtown Derita ought to have some sort of retail component.
I thank you for your comment, and we've definitely heard that from a lot of folks, and we will continue to study options for sure. We're at the very beginning of this process, but as I said, I just want to be honest with you, and I don't anticipate that, but we're definitely taking those comments into consideration.
Does your development have any mixed use facilities?
The initial concepts we've come up with do not have a public facing mixed use, like that the public can come and say attend a coffee shop or something like that. But we're definitely, listening to everybody, and, since we're at the beginning of this process, I've been hearing this comment a lot. So I appreciate that comment.
All right, Carrie, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. So I'm going to echo what everyone else is saying, and I understand that the forum for Tuesday is going to be for everyone to speak their piece in regards to the zoning and your planning. As someone who's been working with the Corridors of Opportunity, we have been attending these meetings and working with the city in terms of what we'd like to see as a community that space turn into. And for Sugar Creek, as a whole, we've got tons of affordable housing already. This isn't the type of area where we need another affordable housing community. Yes, I would love to see mixed income because there are different types of people in this community that do need housing. However, if you're not from this area and you don't know about the spike in crime that we've been seeing because of all of the high density apartments that have been built around here, this is just going to add to that problem. Also, the type of investment that we as a community are looking for is in fact more retail, is in fact more restaurants. With this being, we do want walkability, but when I hear, oh, it's gonna have a gym, and oh, it's gonna have a computer center. Yeah, 3 miles up the street in Sugar Creek, right across the street from the rec center that we're gonna be meeting at on Tuesday, they have the same thing, and there was a double homicide just last week in the parking lot. So yeah, I understand that, your initial intention is to create housing, and then down the road you can look into it for more opportunities there. But we have been waiting and waiting for more. Excuse me, we're waiting for more private development. We are hoping that this community flourishes the way that it used to in the past. And I just don't feel that we need any more low, medium income housing in this particular area, especially at that location. There's so many more opportunities there where we could give small business owners opportunities to build and to invest in their businesses instead of building high density apartments up there. And I do believe that I did a quick Google, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the other properties that you mentioned, the Renaissance property in Spartanburg, that is another affordable housing unit, right?
Yes,
Is it senior living?
yes, the examples I showed in the PowerPoint presentation, those are all kind of similar income level, a mixture of income levels at different tiers. Those are those examples are what we expect the inside of this future building to look like.
Okay. Yeah, that's just the inside. And none of us would have opportunity to utilize that. But again, we have more of an opportunity to state our, our concerns, but with our stakeholders and our community partners here who work with us on an ongoing basis to continue to help us build Derita. We have a trash issue, we have a crime issue, we have a traffic issue. And I do believe that if you're bringing in, you said what, 60 units? 4-story apartment building with 60 units and flat parking, I don't think that's going to bring any type of positive development in this area. So that was just my 2 cents. I didn't have any questions though, besides the affordable housing. I would just like to see regular housing and people who aren't making below the medium income to be able to have an opportunity to live somewhere that's safe, that they can bring their families and have somewhere they can walk without getting mugged or shot on the street. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Carrie. And I see, Thomas, you have your hand up, and we have 9:50. So I think we probably should start wrapping it up, certainly by 10 o'clock. But Thomas.
Well, I'd just like to say, I echo a lot of the people already talking about their concerns for the future development. And, like you're saying, future development may happen in the way way we'd like to have it. But this is the first major opportunity that we have for this. So we'd like to get it right the first time. But as you've talked about before, this is all preliminary right now, it sounds like. And it would be preliminary also for Tuesday night's meeting. And I know that even though you're not going to be required to have any further meetings, because if you take back your rezoning request, the question, I guess, can you commit to when you get a more full review of the project and have a bigger idea of exactly what you're going to do, come back either to this forum or another community meeting later on and let us see a more fulsome plan, so to speak, at that point. And then secondly, we talked a little bit about the transit going in maybe in the future for the light rail, but in the immediate time period, obviously one of the things we're lacking in downtown Derita is a good bus stop. And could such a thing be incorporated into this project in order to have a really nicer place for people to catch the bus and go other places, go downtown, go out to the light rail, that sort of thing?
Yeah, those are both great questions. I can answer both of those pretty quickly. Yes, I will commit to coming back to this group. Would love to come back. I think these are great conversations, and although there are obviously some differing opinions, I think that there's more that we're all on the same page about than not on the same page. Yeah, would absolutely love to come back. The transit stop, actually, one of the comments we got back from the initial comments we got back from the city was, would you please install a nice new bus stop? There is one on Mallard, kind of behind the shopping center, behind the Dollar General. There's one, and I think what the city wants is one on Sugar Creek as a like a northbound lane. So would absolutely be fine incorporating that. And I think those were both of your main comments. And I just want to be conscious of everyone's time, because I'm also guilty of I'm a talker. So at Tuesday we can talk to our heart's content for sure.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to mention, and maybe Erin or Jamila would have more information on this, but this corridor, this part of Sugar Creek is the subject of some federal funding for a transit corridor. It's a raised grant, lots still to be fleshed out, but that will provide a bus route, a new bus route that will run from Derita all the way to the light rail station on Sugar Creek. That's just broadly, and I'm not sure if Erin, Erin, do you have anything more on that?
I have a little bit more, but I can also try to share out some information that you can share with along with the meeting notes. So yes, the Sugar Creek corridor did receive a federal raise grant last year. And so that will be, it will include a mobility hub at basically the Derita, downtown Derita node right there at Mallard Creek and Sugar Creek. A lot of the details of what's included, I don't know off the top of my head, but it will be a very pretty big investment in, like you said, connecting, having that direct connection and access to the light rail station all the way from the Derita area. And I can send you, just like a one pager of the project, and the timing on it is really, I think a lot of the preliminary work and like planning work would kick off later this year. But it is a, federally funded, pretty large project. So it's a multi-year effort is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's important for us all to know, that is funded, and the details to be fleshed out, of course. And yeah, I would love to get a one-page document that I can help share. All right. Do we have anybody else? We can let you guys go. I do have some more slides and updates, but I can save them for next month unless people want to. There's a few things I do want to share. But if we don't have anything more on this Puckett's site plan, we will look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday, if you can make it, 6:30 at the Sugar Creek Recreation Center, which is just down the road on the other side of 85 on Sugar Creek. And yeah, thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything that hasn't been said before? Anything new? Thanks, Joseph. And I
Thank
see
you all.
Robertson Via, are you with these, or you city? I didn't
Yes,
like you
yeah.
to
So
introduce.
Joseph, how dare you? Yeah, so I work with Joseph with NHE, and I was just kind of here to lend support to him, but he did a masterful job.
Okay, thank you. And then I do see John Carmichael on the call. And I didn't ask you to introduce yourself, but
sorry, I
Teresa.
skipped the introductions.
Yeah, Teresa, this John, since he's not going to be pursuing a rezoning anymore, I won't have any more involvement in it. But I was just here in case there's a question about that, about any of that.
Okay, of course, yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, thank you very much for coming, and we look forward to hearing more. And we're always pretty constructive, I think, about the future of Derita. So
yes,
thank you all so much. Have a good day.
Thank y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Happy New Year, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. All right, folks, I do have a couple more screens or just updates to share. I won't keep you long. Hang on. I just wanted to share some pictures from our December holiday event, which was a lot of fun. We had guests from Trees Charlotte. This is Joy Mayo over here giving her presentation, and please reach out to her. They are looking for a neighborhood to partner with to maintain and build and protect the tree canopy. So even if you have an individual tree in your yard, they would be available for advice and help to, with what to do, because we have a wonderful tree canopy in a lot of our neighborhoods because they are, mature neighborhoods. So I will send out some information, but Trees Charlotte is the organization. They are a nonprofit. They work very closely with the city, but part of their mission is the tree canopy in Charlotte. And then this is Jeanette Kennard, who was our guest, and she's on this call, who is Champion House of Care, and they are operating now out of Derita Presbyterian. so lots of ways to support the community and various people in need. So that was our December party. Thanks to everybody who came out. It was a blast. I would love to do it again next year and have more people, and possibly, as I said, do something during daylight hours. Derita Presbyterian has been wonderful to let us use their space. But at night, it's very dark, the parking lot. So in the winter, of course, even a 5 p.m. start, you're dealing with dark. So anybody interested in getting involved with that for this year, let me know.
I think you should add a chili cook-off to that event.
I know, yes. I thought that would be a fantastic idea. So yeah, that I like that idea, especially as we start to have more people, because I did those 2 chilies. That's about the limit of what I can personally do for any event. So if we want more people, we definitely need more cooks. So thank you. We'll add that to the list. And then the other awesome activity that we had at that meeting was the making of our Derita t-shirts, which hopefully if you made one, you'll wear it to the meeting on Tuesday. I'm going to get together and make one. I didn't get a chance, but Hashim is Derita Design, also on Gibbon Road. He could not make today's meeting. He is, a working person. But yeah, he made all the stencils and put together this booth for that activity. So if you're interested in making a Derita t-shirt, let me know and we'll see if we can put together another event for that. There may be some cost involved because of course the t-shirts and the paint and everything does start to add up, but we did collect canned goods, and that was the payment, the fee for the t-shirts. So we did pretty good, and we donated to Second Harvest Food Bank. And Hashim sent me updated drawings last night, and I did not include them here. These are some previous drawings, but this is the new plan for the Derita mural. Since in September we had been working on the Derita is Cool mural on the ICE building across from Food Line on North Graham Street. And they withdrew their permission for that mural to be on that building. So we really had to go back to the drawing board, and Hashim did a great job of presenting some ideas. But we did get permission from Phil Harris, who owns this building here. Of course, is just a graphic representation, but this is where Andino's Tire is. It's the old firehouse, the original Derita Volunteer Fire Department building, and this tower was the tower that they used. It was kind of an observation tower, and it was also something that they draped their fire hoses on to dry out, I guess. So we have permission to use the old fire tower for the Derita, what is now the Derita Art Project. This is kind of the idea. What he sent me last night was that the coloring is certainly different because we do have an artist working on these plans. So we'll present more of that. We are still working on incorporating the snowflakes that people made for the Derita is Cool mural. And they will just work to kind of represent the unique residents who made the snowflakes. So that is underway, and just watch the space, because we're looking like it could be as early as March that we'll see this installed, and it'll be very visible from all angles. The train line runs behind there, so if we ever have commuters or people on that rail line, it will be very visible. It's very visible from Sugar Creek and probably from Gibbon. So we're excited, and that's where that stands.
I have a comment if you get
Yes.
return.
Well,
yes. If you can return to that. Yes. I had a conversation with Rashid, and he liked this idea. And my idea is that the top platform on this structure should incorporate a flagpole with a large flag to either complement or maybe even replace all the existing flags along the road, many which continually get literally destroyed. There's 3 or 4 now that are in shreds of the American flags. So the idea is to have a flagpole in the middle of that top platform that goes further, even higher, with a large flag. And during the holiday season, about halfway up the pole, you could string lights and it would look like a Christmas tree. So this is an opinion about how to further enhance, what we have there, and what we propose to do is to put a flagpole in the middle of that top platform.
thank you. Yeah, anything like that would have to get the permission, of course, of the owner.
Sure. I think he would be.
Yeah, and it just, the flags in downtown Derita are a huge maintenance headache. As we know, the American Legion, that's their project, and Sylvia did let me know that they do have plans to replace all the flags. It'll happen later this month. It's hard to look at shredded flags, so yeah, I would also prefer something a lot more sustainable than what currently goes on. But I understand I'm not getting up there and changing out those flags, so it does take some physical labor and a lot of coordination to keep up with the flags. So I don't have a slide on the flags in downtown Derita, but that is the update on that. And I'm just sorry that we will be seeing shredded flags for a few more weeks, but it is scheduled. And then the Derita bench was installed and promptly damaged by a car. So I don't know that it's back in place. Hashim had to make some repairs. He said it could be repaired, but he had not done it yet. And I guess that's the joy of projects like this. While we have the permission from CATS and NCDOT and the city of Charlotte to do a project like this, we're responsible for maintaining it down the road. So, and that has come down to Hashim. So anyway, I'm not sure if it's back in place, but it was installed. These are pictures from the day it was installed, and but shortly after that, it was hit by a car somehow. I have no idea how people drive, but I'm not going to go down that road. And then I just got a few summaries. I won't go over this too much, but we did get a lot of coverage in the news about the water system project that required, in air quotes, trees to be removed on West Sugar Creek. And so I just keep that in there so that we for the record. And then we were talking about the red line again in this conversation about pockets. So it is back. It's definitely back on the table, and the city currently is studying the corridor, the proposed location, I guess. I know there's a lot of pressure from, and rightly so, Camp North End is around here and will have something like 2,500 apartments completed in the not too distant future. So really a new stop should be contemplated at Camp North End. So that's another thing that is ongoing. Norfolk Southern, the big change that happened was that Norfolk Southern is willing to consider engaging with the city of Charlotte to possibly sell or lease that line for passenger use, for commuter rail. And something I would love to see. So that is, just keep that on your radar.
Teresa.
Yes.
Oh, I will say that I was way back in the day, decades ago, when they first started talking about this rail line. There were plans to have at least 2 more stops along Graham Street going into Charlotte. And then when they started talking about using commuter rail, that's when those 2 stops along Graham Street got eliminated from the plan. And you're right. Somebody should be absolutely considering putting at least a stop at the new developments along Graham Street as part of that plan. You would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will lie down on that track if it's just going to continue to come through our neighborhoods and we get no stop and no benefit. It just cannot stand. So I know the consideration is with commuter rail, it's different to light rail, so it doesn't stop as frequently, but there is just no way that we're going to allow the priorities of people who choose to live way, 10, 20, 30 miles outside of Charlotte, for them to have a fast track into the city. And we don't get any stops in North Charlotte. So yeah, stand with us all, guys, because that is a thing that is not going to happen. And I know there's a lot of attention for Camp North End, so I am sure that stop has to be added. I don't know what else between there and Derita, but yeah, that's part of, I guess, what they're studying, because there's been a lot of growth all the way along this line since they first talked about it. There's been thousands of units of housing added all the way along this line. So yeah, I'm sure that probably is what they're studying, is the stops and just how to make it, a decent rail line that will actually serve people who ride it.
Well, and I will say, just if we ever get a chance to actually talk to somebody from the planning of that thing, again, I'd like to understand why it is that no one until like a few years ago knew that Norfolk Southern was not going to allow them to use the line to start with, because from, like I said, decades ago, like I want to say the 90s or even maybe the late 80s, when they were talking about using, this red line, they were talking about using those tracks, and no one said Norfolk Southern doesn't like that idea. But then like 5 years ago, all of a sudden I hear Norfolk Southern says no, and that's it, and now they're talking again. But for decades, no one said Norfolk Southern is not going to allow us to use the tracks. That was not a factor in the decisions back then. But now, like you said, and all the towns along, like Huntersville, Cornelius, especially, and up in Davidson, they were all thinking, we're going to have a train eventually run on these tracks. So we're going to develop like that in these areas.
Yeah, exactly. So my understanding was when Norfolk Southern changed CEOs, and they did actually backtrack. Like originally, yes, they were on board, no pun intended. And then that changed, and I'm not sure when that changed, somewhere around 2012, I think. And because this goes back to 2007 is when we moved into the Derita area, and this red line was a pretty sure thing at that point. And sometime later, Norfolk Southern actually changed their mind, and it's bigger than Charlotte. The Norfolk Southern and the state of North Carolina have control over the rail lines, and you know, so there's negotiations going on, I am sure, between Norfolk Southern, the state of North Carolina, and of course Charlotte has this very obvious, or Mecklenburg County has this very obvious need for the use of this line, which connects towns and should carry people.
Right. Oh yeah, I can't understand why Norfolk Southern would have even said no to that, because you would think, as slow as their trains have to move through Derita, like walking speed almost, you would think it would benefit them to have upgraded tracks so they could move their stuff along those lines when it was their turn, so to speak, much faster than they can now.
Yeah,
you would think it would be a win-win for them, but I don't get it. So
yeah. Anyway, we'll definitely follow that, and hopefully have a chance to hear and have some input. But I think a lot of people are on the same page. So hopefully, anyway, that's another thing we'll be watching this year, although these things move very slowly. So who knows if we'll have an update this year, but we'll be watching for it. We do have a bunch of rezonings that are still in process, and I took this map from the city site, which you can go to. It's rezoning.org. It's great. You see the visual like this, so you can actually see the parcels in red that are subject to a rezoning petition currently. And when you click on it, you will get all the information. There will be site plans there. If there have been community meetings, the minutes will be posted. And of course, updating that website, you know, gets backlogged. And I noticed, and maybe some of the city staff, if anyone is still with us, will know what the backlog is. But for instance, here is a rezoning 2023-177. I don't even know, well, I guess it's on the map, but there's nothing there. There's no link to any of the other documents. So that must have been later in the year, a rezoning submitted, and that just all the public documents have not been loaded to the website. So I'm guessing they'll be catching up on that, and I'll be able to update, because I don't really know what that is. Trying to even figure out what road that is. That's Gibbon Road. So yeah, you'll be the first to know once I know more about what that is. But all these others we've been talking about, this is Puckett's. This one was withdrawn. This is right in the bend of Sugar Creek. That has actually been withdrawn, and that parcel there was bought by the county for a future park. So I have all the details on the rezonings. I don't think there's anything besides Puckett's that is really of major note to any of us, but the details are here. You'll see them in the slides if you want to dig into it, or anytime go to rezoning.org. It's all there. And if you need help navigating that site, I'll be glad to hop on a Zoom and help you go through that. So these are just more details on those same rezonings. I'm just clicking through because I don't want to keep you too long. I did try to summarize the things that are under construction, the various residential projects that are either new construction or being renovated. Single family townhomes here, apartments here. Some of these haven't even started, like the senior housing at Mallard Creek and Hubbard Road. I'm not sure the status of that. It was approved. I don't know if they were approved for funding, so maybe it's not going to happen. And a lot of these others you will have seen because you're driving by and they're under construction or they're complete. I am happy to see, and I didn't create a good slide about it. I'll try to do that for next month, but the strip malls on Gibbon Road, and I'll be interested in you guys who live on Gibbon Road, what you may have seen, because I'm not always right there, but Keziah's has moved out, Keziah Furniture Shop, and of course they go back decades in that location. I'm pretty sure they closed the business and they have renovated their building. At one point I talked to a broker and they have 2 large spaces over there. Of course it was furniture, so you can imagine they're large. And I have not been able to, the broker I talked to is no longer representing the Keziahs. So I've been trying to get information on what they hope for that site. I don't believe they're trying to sell it. They will be leasing it. But yeah, if you're in touch with anybody that you think needs a location like that, any market or coffee shop, we do have lots of availability now in these buildings that have, Keziah's hasn't changed hands, but the owner is investing in renovating. And then, sorry, this should say strip mall, across from Keziah's, next to the gas station at the corner of Gibbon and Nevin, Gibbon and Nevin, has also been renovated, and they're starting to get new tenants in on that little strip. So put out the word, because you know there is space available for the businesses that we would like to see, and hopefully we can get some of them going. And then I've just included, for the record, some long-standing Derita dreams, you know, uses for parcels around Derita that have some potential. This is that triangle formed by North Graham Street Extension and Mallard Creek Road. This triangle here. It's kind of a dead zone. It's excess land. It's still owned by NCDOT. They would be very open to allowing it to be used for some kind of park, maybe just benches, maybe some,
oh yeah, that's right,
some art, you know, just something. Right now I guess they just mow it and it has a few trees, but it has some potential, so that we keep that on our list in case somebody's rattling around looking for something nice to do. And then of course Mel already mentioned this, and this is our dream always for Mallard Creek and Sugar Creek, to have a roundabout there and a much more sort of pedestrian centered place. And I do have some hope that this current plan will achieve some of this, but I agree with a lot of you that I would rather see something with some mixed use and some small commercial spaces on the ground floor.
I mean, you guys don't like
right
the Cash Point ATM that sits there now at the corner?
You want to replace that with this? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know,
well, I'm
like
imagining
you don't like the Cash Point right there at that corner. I mean, come on, you know, it's beautiful.
Hello, you could actually, you could add that steel structure that has signs could be converted into a clock tower.
Mm.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
this I'm actually picturing this in the middle of the road,
Yeah, well,
Well,
that's
in the
yeah,
middle of the
yeah.
intersection. But
yeah. Roundabout there would be great.
yeah, so we can dream. These are just some of our ideas, and then
Oh no.
there's an old slide of the Derita bench when it was first unveiled. I think I've got through all my slides. We do have the Greenway. We'll get an update sometime about that. In fact, we got an update to the Planning Commission. I haven't even had a chance to review the update, but this Greenway, 2 miles of Greenway is underway. And this is Statesville Road here, and it will connect to Allen Hills Park, I'm sorry. So that's in progress. So that's another thing we'll be watching. I don't know exactly when it might be open or usable, but it's funded and underway. And I think that's all that I have for updates.
I'd like to update the zoning issue.
Yes.
And I'm not sure I identified this back on your map. There's a huge amount of woods actually behind Wells Fargo.
Yes.
That backs up to my property, my backyard. I
Yes.
Okay, that there has been a tremendous amount of surveying going on for, gosh, the last year. And recently, quite a few trees immediately behind my backyard, where I watch deer every other day, had a bunch of little white spray marks all over the trees, little circles. And I thought, oh no, gosh, I hope they're not going to be taking down trees. And so I managed to get a hold of a representative with Kinger Homes.
Yes, awesome. Please put me in touch with them, Mel.
Okay, anyway, I finally got a call back from somebody with that it's a large organization. So I wanted to know what in the world is going on back here.
Tell me just quickly, before you carry on, can everyone see that I have Polaris pulled up now?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've highlighted that site that you're talking about.
So
and I do have some more updates about that as well, but I have not talked to Kinger Homes, so please carry on.
Okay, this representative said, yes, there's trees are marked, but they're not coming down. There's a requirement that they identify how many trees there are on the property, because there's some sort of stipulation that when you develop, you have to retain or replace something like, I don't know, 50, 60% of the trees or more. I don't know the exact figure. So he said, no, the trees aren't coming down. This is a way of identifying how many trees there are existing on that property. And there's since been a whole heck of a lot more of these little round spray circles on trees throughout the woods there behind my house. So
Yes.
if you look at the point on the upper right of the green there, that's my property, that cul-de-sac, that little triangle. So I look out on most of this. In fact, that part of the property is an abandoned railroad line, a bed, which kind of has served me for the last 20 years as a nature trail. Even though it's not my property, I take advantage of the fact that I have access to it. So back to Kinger Homes, they tell me that, this is all preliminary planning and that they expect construction to take place in 2025.
Okay. Yeah, the part that I knew about as far as this parcel goes is that Kinger Homes also acquired this parcel from Gary Carter. So they now have, more of a frontage on Sugar Creek that will make it easier. And, this could potentially be the site of a roundabout. at Gibbon and Nevin, which may even start to solve some of the problems that Emily has. Because I know if you're trying to come out of your house onto Gibbon, the traffic is backed up all the way. And if whether you're trying to make a left or a right out of your house at certain times of the day, it's hard because it's hard right here to get over get over Derita Avenue and then over the rail line and then onto Sugar Creek. So that's where there's always a bottleneck there. So maybe that might be another dream location for some kind of roundabout that would keep traffic moving. Because that's what creates bottlenecks, is as soon as you get somebody trying to make a left turn over here, the traffic is gonna back up. And I don't know about you, but I don't try to make left turns, especially when I've got thousands of people behind me. But
in reality, they need to stop letting people make a left turn out of there. It's just A, it's too dangerous, and B, like you're saying, the traffic just backs up incredibly.
Yeah. And you know, there are other ways to go if you're trying to go in this direction. You know, you just go another way. But yeah, it's hard because people just do what they're gonna do. But yeah, so that may be, you know, certainly this whole area here will have to be reconfigured if there is a new road going into a development here, because this is 11 acres. Same as Puckett's, I think it's already zoned for multifamily. They don't have to go through any kind of process to put multifamily there. But they have 11 acres there. And then this parcel has also changed hands. And I have not had a chance yet to see who this LLC is, because honestly, I thought it was Kinger Homes that was pursuing this parcel. Because that would help them, you know, put together a very sizable piece of property. And it's beautiful, this property. Right now it's a lot of woods, but there is a pond on the property, and now with all this frontage on North Graham, yeah, it was obvious that it would change hands and change use.
I'll mention in my conversation with Kinger,
yeah,
I asked if they were aware that the city is emphasizing more connectivity.
Yeah.
And he said, yes, he's aware of that. So if you look back at that piece of property that backs on my house, ideally would be to have a through road right there at the dead end of Planter's Wood. You see?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so there would be a route from Sugar Creek all the way to North Graham, because this is the only other entrance exit for the Forest Pond subdivision.
Yes.
Planter's Wood. So prior plan was for there to be some connectivity but by virtue of that road. And,
well, but the problem I see with that is that comes through this parcel, which at this point is still owned by somebody else. And while they hopefully, because that would be great, I would see that looking something like Nevin Road, this section of Nevin Road.
Yeah.
That is very pretty, you know, with sidewalks and bike lanes and beautiful trees on both sides. I could see that being a great.
Yeah, absolutely. See, my subdivision is cul-de-sac city. I mean, if you look at it,
yes.
So I live on a cul-de-sac and I like it, but you know, it's not ideal for.
Right. Well, and your cul-de-sac will never change. But it would be nice if you could just hop on some kind of walking trail, which already exists.
Yeah.
To get into downtown Derita, as opposed to trying to walk all this way out to there or drive a car, which adds to traffic when you're, as the crow flies, you're very close to downtown Derita.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we'll be watching that for sure. If you would put me in touch with Kinger Homes, I would love to talk to them. I honestly thought they were pursuing this property, but I don't believe they're related to this LLC. But I'm still working on figuring out who has bought this property and what they hope to hope to do there as well. And it's complicated because, as you can see, there's a bit of a creek. I think there's a ravine of some kind in here. You probably know better than me because you've walked back there.
It's a major sewer easement.
Oh, there is already a sewer easement. So that's Greenway, people, if you didn't know.
Can't build on that.
Sewer easement is future Greenway. As horrible as that sounds, it's the perfect use.
Yeah, it's too bad that couldn't connect to the abandoned railroad bed, kind of swing.
Well, yeah, and it might, because if you really zoom out now, but have to zoom out, but you can see this enormous potential here. Here's this new park land that the county has that actually fronts IBM Drive. Here's creek bed, which I will guarantee probably has sewer easement on it already.
I'm
and
sure.
Here it connects into downtown Derita.
Yeah, there you go. There you got the Greenway access. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, these things give me goosebumps because I think really in 5 years, some of this will flesh out quite well.
Teresa,
Yes, ma'am.
I've got to leave. I got a sick grandchild I got to go pick up. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
just Happy New Year to everybody. Hope it's safe and have fun.
Thank you, Sylvia. We appreciate you. And yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here pretty shortly. But yeah, you can catch up if you want to watch it on YouTube.
I will.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope he feels better soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right, everyone. This does feel very exciting to me because, when I first started doing this stuff, really 15 years ago, when I moved to Derita, and I thought it would happen more quickly, but all of this is underused, vacant land. Now, of course, it does have a lot of trees on it at this point, but being so close to university and so close to downtown and potentially right on a commuter rail and certainly some other kind of transit hub, as we mentioned before, that is going to run a bus from here to the light rail all day long, backwards and forwards. This is really shaping up to be a very nice little village. And the more residents you can bring into here, the more these businesses can be supported along West Sugar Creek and Mallard Creek in these, and it just attracts better businesses once you have that, the people to support the businesses. So the businesses do not come first, the people come first, and then the businesses follow. So that's very exciting to my mind. Anybody else got anything to add? And otherwise we'll finish up here, but I'm delighted that you've talked to Kinger Homes because I have low-key had them on my radar to try to get in touch, and I thought they were pursuing this parcel, but they're not. But that doesn't mean that they may not still make something sensible. I think for them to deal with these 3 parcels together and come up with a good road plan in there, road and pedestrian plan would be optimal for us. So we'll keep an eye as much as we can. I don't know that they need rezoning, so it really is a matter of getting in touch with the people who own these properties and hoping that they will be willing to loop us in and hear from us.
Teresa,
yes,
there's one thing I'll say just in rezonings in general. It seems to me like this one we're talking about for Derita there for Puckett's, that when developers who are doing rezoning or whoever's doing a rezoning, a lot of their plans are preliminary at the time they have the meeting, and usually it's just the one meeting. So there still doesn't seem to be any place, as I was looking at the Puckett's rezoning, anywhere where you could put like public comments for a rezoning into that website, or give feedback into that a particular rezoning petition, as far as if you missed the one meeting they have or whatever, or you can't make it to the public, or to the downtown meeting or whatever. They seem to have no way other than that for the public to have any other input, or ways to
I would
input it.
suggest, he did give his contact information on one of his slides, that anybody could just actually email Joseph with any comments or feedback. Yeah,
Well,
there
and I don't mean
isn't really,
specifically.
anything like that is costly to set up. Even the idea that we would have some fully fleshed out plans, it costs tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to get to the point where you can have plans for a site that would be anything remotely close to what they can build.
Right, I understand all that, but you see,
Yeah.
once they come up with a plan, eventually they've got to come out with a final plan. And I am assuming
Yes.
those final plans have to go onto the rezoning website. And what I'm saying is the rezoning website itself should be able to take in public comment when those plans are finalized or those plans are developing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't mean for the developer to do it. I mean for the zoning commission to do that.
Okay. Well,
Right.
yeah, and I'll bring that up. I don't know if that's a realistic thing to add, because the way the process works right now, of course, there's the community meeting with the developer. There is also a public hearing in front of city council for everyone. And then in the zoning committee, that meeting is also public. When the zoning committee, part of the planning commission, goes over these rezonings, you can attend, you can watch it on Zoom, you can go there in person. It's not a continuation of the public hearing. So the public hearing is actually by statute. That's where you have your say. And there's all sorts of statutes around that, like how long people can speak, and you have to sign up with the clerk and all of that.
Yeah, exactly, which is a very complicated process, which doesn't lend itself very well.
But what you're talking about may actually take state action, because a lot of the process is set by state law. So
and it's behind the times.
Well,
well, it is.
There's a debate on that too, because
it's not difficult to have a section where it's not difficult to add a section to a website where you could put in public comments, or it's something like that. That shouldn't be that difficult, and it should be more of a modern type of way of doing things. But my point though is, all the stuff they're doing today is based on decades old things. We're going to have the one public meeting. Well, the guys aren't even ready with plans yet. This guy's got all preliminary, like this example. This guy has all preliminary plans. Well, I can't say, oh, this looks good or this looks bad, because all your plans are so preliminary. You don't even know what it's going to look like. Right. So I can't say, oh, let's do that. Now he's going to withdraw it, of course. But if, say, he did have to have a rezoning, I mean, we got no way of going what the final product looks like until he gets finished. And if he has already had the meeting before he has the final product ready to go, then what do you do? I mean,
Hey, Thomas, I wanted to jump in. This is Carrie. I wanted to jump in really fast because I understand your point. And maybe Teresa, let me know if I'm way off here. But I think what you're saying is for there to be a little bit more accountability for the developers and also the zoning commission, there would be a lot more commentary that would be for the public eyes to see. To Teresa's point is, you do have these zoning hearings, you have these zoning meetings that are open, and yes, it is kind of antiquated, that you do have to show up, you have to sign up, and it is a very complicated process. But Thomas, let me tell you, that process is complicated for a reason, right? And a lot of the zoning issues that we're seeing, or a lot of zoning changes or zoning updates, we do have to try to keep up with. And this is why we have these meetings. And this is why the developers do show up, because they do want to save face. But you're right. At the end of the day, they can change their mind and move forward with whatever it is they want to move forward with. But the point is, we do want to make sure that we document these conversations so we can hold them accountable. Let's say, for instance, the same developer wants to develop more in Charlotte. We can say, well, no, this is what you said that you were going to do and you didn't do. And then you'd be able to hold them to the fire on the public stage. But no, I hear you. And we just have to make sure that we get enough people to push back on whatever it is that they're showing us, quote unquote, preliminary planning, because they tell us it's preliminary just because they don't want us to say, okay, well, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it with or without your input. But if we keep pushing back and we let them know and hold our city officials accountable too, because we've been having these meetings over and over again to tell them what we want and what we need for us to be able to grow in this area. And to be honest with you, if we're going to go ahead and create all of these bubbles and these pockets of, of things that aren't going to bring value or bring investment here, then it looks like they're doing it intentionally without really caring about what it is that we have to say. So I'm right there with you, 100%.
Thank you. Yeah, just to that point, of course, the UDO, the city's actual ordinances and zoning regulations, those things set what things can, what development has to look like and what it has to incorporate. And that is, that is law. We can't just change things on a whim. It has to be changed by a process. So the ways that we can get involved, and I didn't do a slide on that, but the city is currently doing community area map planning. They did all the sessions last year for one part of it, and if you were able to attend the planning session for our area, I mean, I went to both sessions. There were not many people there, despite the fact that I publicized it, the city publicized it. So, it's all very well to talk about what we want, but when the city is actually coming to us in our neighborhood looking for input, people don't show up.
That's right.
So,
people don't show up until it's too late.
That's frustrating. But we do have the zoning in place in downtown Derita. Most of it is designated as a neighborhood center, which does allow for it to really develop into what we want. It's just we can't develop properties we don't own. And so we're subject to whatever the private owners want to do within, and then they're constrained by the UDO and the requirements and the zoning, etc. So it's a big, long conversation, but definitely stay in touch, stay involved, and whenever we have opportunities to have input, I would love to see lots of people there. All right, I think that's everything, guys. Anybody? I see there's some chat. I don't know. Okay, people have to drop. I understand that. And then Aaron did send that link for the transit hub, because that also will change things. That big federal infrastructure transit grant, that is close to $20 million that is going to be spent on this corridor between Derita and the light rail station on Sugar Creek. So thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. I look forward to seeing you guys out there. I don't plan to have any of these meetings be public until, not public, in person until June. But I do want to start getting smaller groups together. And I hope that you guys will also do this in your communities. to just start by having a coffee morning or something, as much as you can, just to connect with the people in your neighborhoods.
If we only had a coffee shop to go to. Oh, wait.
Yes, well, I know that would be nice. Maria's is a great place to meet people. I know it's not quite the same. And you have to go sort of later in the morning, so you know you feel like you can sit there for a bit longer. But yeah, we would love more of those places. I would love to see Maria's open at night. Around the corner on Nevin Road, we've got two great places, 5400 Bar and Grill and the Mexican restaurant, that are amazing. So, you know, but they're not necessarily in the best location. They don't have enough parking, and it's not easy to walk right around there. So it would be better for those businesses to be more towards this area, Sugar Creek. But maybe we'll see some of that happening, maybe not. But thank you, everybody, for attending, and we'll see you next month. It's actually on the 1st, so try to put that on your calendar. The Zoom link is the same, so if you make a calendar item with that Zoom link that you got for today, it will be the same at least through May. And yeah, let me know if there's anything else. And thank you, Mel. That kind of intel is exactly what I'm looking for. So if you guys have intel on any parcels anywhere, share it with me so that I can keep it on my Derita notes and follow up, and we can just stay on top of a lot of this change, which potentially is very positive. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.